Should we make it an internet challenge? Well, your eyes are not deceiving you. Yes, that is one 2x4 holding up the car. Set up to a cart, which allows me to roll this thing around. Now, if you really are worried that if this is not stable enough, well, let me just show you. It's fine. And it allows me to move the car around. Oh yeah, and I even cleaned it a bit. That's right. Welcome to Z-Wing's workshop. We're going to straighten this thing out now. It's 136 degrees. I mean 73 degrees. 136 degrees. That's the time. And then here are the tools we're going to be using again. We got a couple of body hammers. We've got the dollies, and you know, a little wrench on the end of these pinch cleats will help bend them one way or another. As far as straight edge goes, I'm using this for reference. You can see we got pretty good tight gaps going all the way across till we get to here. And then that's some major air gap oses. If you can see it or not, there you go. You see a lot more. So that's the part we got to bring down. Now, obviously that point's okay. It's just this middle point, which in turns messes up that, which should bring it down enough to where it's going to fix our fender issue. So again, I'm going to use this. I can use it in both directions just to make sure it's straight. I brought my low phone holder. They're made by D's, by the way. If you ever need to get some for yourself. And we're just going to put you here and you can watch me work. Okay, I'm by no means an expert at any of this. You know, the most metal I know is Metallica and Rammstein. But I'm handy. And when it comes to hammers, I'd consider myself an expert on that. But there you go. It's pretty doggone straight from that point there. We still get up to here, and obviously it's leaning a little bit, but we got to pull that side down. Now the other thing too is, let's try and get this flash on. There you go. You can see it's got a major cave. This thing is kind of out here. Then the inside here probably will need to be banged down once we get some of the center section way back here brought back down. Now I do plan on actually encapsulating the entire frame rail with more sheet metal. I'm going to do some frame rigidity, and a lot of this is going to get covered up and reinforced. Now I'm only going to do that because, well, it's just going to make the car stiffer, and it's not going to be a bad thing. But otherwise, the rest of this going up looks pretty good, with the exception of a little bit of rust here and there. I know there's a little bit of nastiness over in there. That side's all really good. Now the other thing too I plan on doing is I want to go through and I'm probably going to stitch weld a lot of the stuff on the exterior of the firewall and on the inside of the engine bay. Not the firewall, but the outside here. Again, it's just going to strengthen up everything. You know, I may even come in here, stitch weld a lot of this. This is all going to get, again, like I said, we got to pull this down. So we're going to try and do that next. I'll show you what I'm going to do. All right, so this is going to be test number 1. Well, did you think that was going to work? Yeah, me neither. Here's upgrade number 2. Well, I didn't think that was going to work either. I'm going to have to drill into the floor. And I found this. This is basically a chain fall protection. And, you know, it slips in here like so. And it's basically a D-ring. You would hook up your fall protection to this. And these are the screws. And I actually have longer ones too. But I drilled a couple holes we're going to try this method now too. Obviously the weight of the car wasn't enough, so I need some proper anchoring. The other anchor I didn't think was going to work. This should do it a lot better. And if this fails, I've got expansion bolts. So it's been a bit of a while since I've been out here working on the car. It's actually summertime again, or spring at least. So one of the things I've been wanting to do is take this frame rail from basically that point forward and move it out, because this thing was damaged and it was in. This thing was, you know, frowning actually, and I was able to flatten it out and get it a little straighter. So what I've done here now too is I have a straight edge. This line of the framing square, or my drywall square, is middle of the car. And I've been taking measurements off the frame rails, off the subframe, the lower, you know, the subframe, just everything. I've been going through and marked it out, center lined of this hole, hoping that is good. I know this is square. I've used it many times. It actually is very square. So I've been doing all the measurements, and we are actually in really good shape in relation. This still needs to come over. It really, this point needs to come over like a 1/16 of an inch. This is all kind of not perfectly straight compared to the other side. And there was a good kink here, and I was using the stud gun and just trying to knock these out, and unfortunately it was tearing. I was trying to even add like a little block of metal, and I was trying to pull it with, you know, welding the block of metal to it. It's way better than what it was, and a lot of the kink is completely gone. Now, something I have to do too on the back side, there's a bracket for the brake line. I need to remove that bracket, and you can kind of see it's a little wrinkly up here, so I want to kind of just take a dolly and hammer to it and try to straighten it out. But I've got to clean out all of the muck, or the underbody. There's that bracket that needs to be removed, so that way I could kind of get a good clean hammer and dolly on it, and that way I'm not hammering the Z-Bart, which I believe it was. And then eventually we're going to get to these frame rails and kind of start repairing and patching them. There's the motorcycle. So yeah, let's get at it. I'm kind of happy too that this, what I did had worked. It was basically spreading this guy, kind of set up here all the way to the end. The plate, this is actually came out of a house I was jacking, and or that needed a little jack support, and then this guy kind of went there. You turn the nut and it spread it away. I didn't take a lot of video. It's just something I, you know, come in here in the winter time and screw around with it a little bit, knock, you know, start knocking the hammers around just to kind of straighten out some of this metal before you know, we get through and start going to the major welding and body work. But it's springtime again. This car's got to get finished. So, and I'm really just starting. So this is really the bones, the structure, the skeletal system. So I want to make sure this is dialed in before I really go any further with it. So we're at a good process. And just so you guys know, this thing was over probably already a good 3/8 to a 1/2 inch in where it had to be. So a lot of it was when I defrowned this thing, and obviously you can see it. It's going to need a little repair itself. So I may even consider seeing if I could get a different one, or just maybe create a whole new piece, you know, just do some bars and redo the whole thing. That's an option. Something else I'm trying to do here is make sure we're good height-wise. Make sure nothing, you know, maybe this end maybe have sagged, or maybe it's too high. You know, there's a lot of small spots with the light pocket. Again, when I had the car, you know, before I tore everything apart, this area of the car, the way the front nose was a little weird. You know, and I tried to dial it in and adjust it a few times, even way before when I had this car painted back in the 90s. So something is goofy with it. So that's why I'm going through all this right now. Now here's the other thing. So I've got my Stanley 4-foot level, and it looks really good. We got nice, beautiful level. And I even have it checked on with my laser. So I know the level, the laser's good. that area at the top of the shock tower, and I'm going off of, you know, just this bump here. I've checked a few other spots with the laser to make sure that, you know, stuff is level. So now I'm going to go through, do some measurements. Like I say, well, some of the things that I'm worried about is I want to make sure like this light pocket is, you know, aligned with this light pocket. This side should be the reference, so all these points should, you know, I should be able to get an equal measurement here to an equal measurement here. I'll probably take a Sharpie if there is, you know, like this thing needs to come up a quarter, I'll do plus quarter, minus, it'll be minus quarter, depending on what it is. Now this bracket here, you know, the more and more I'm looking at this thing, the more and more I could see some damage. This was booger welded. There's a little booger underneath here. Then you look at this side, and it's nice factory fresh, nice and tight. Is that a bug? I don't know. But you can see this thing has been boogered. So we are going to remove this piece also, and we're going to re-tack that on. Let's see, what else? The more and more I'm looking too, we've got decent, you know, factory weld here. Go to the crash, the other side, and you got some booger welds. So obviously somebody was in here. They were doing some stuff. I know I'm missing the little, that thing over here, which probably was just manual. I could probably get something. I know I still have to cut some of this stuff out. So that's probably what I'm going to end up doing right now. I'm going to take some more measurements, make sure what needs to go up and down and where it does. That should be easy to rectify because I could, you know, put something under here, lower the car down. I could tweak it. We'll make it work. But just to kind of keep you an update on what's happening here and why I'm trying to make this thing as straight as possible. Okay, so I'm still enjoying this wonderful day, and I think I got this guy dialed in. I'm going to show you here in a second. But just to show you kind of what we were talking about earlier, this side had to come down 1/8 of an inch. This side had to come down 1/4 of an inch just in the light pocket itself. And the rest of this was actually really good in relationship to that side. And it's been a constant of measuring, checking the laser. It's carb day, I believe. And continuing to measure the laser. And just continuing taking points off of, you know, bolt holes, high ridges, just stuff that I know it's clean, looks good, it should be straight and true. You know, like even like this little pad here. Anything there's a symmetrical point of location, that's where I'm measuring. And I think we're in great shape. So just to show you though what I did, I've got the jack, not the jock, but the jack, and we've got the long bar chain wrapped around this guy. Now I know this is adjustable, so, but I'm using it as a pull point, so it could pull down. I could just basically just stand in this light pocket and just jumping down on it, but you know, I've already done that before, not on video. So basically, give this a little jack up. It'll actually kind of stretch this, and then I go through and just start tapping some of the corners. The frame rail now looks actually really good. It's got a nice kink to it. You know, a natural kink to it, I should say, the way it's supposed to be. And everything, like I say, is dialed in. So I'm going to just put you on the ladder here, or the stand, and you can kind of see, too, the way I got the video set up. Everything looks good. I mean, with the side of all the tools and the busyness, but just to kind of show you where we're at. And I was trying not to go on these rolled edges. I'm trying to go on hard edges that are straight and true, like the bottom of this light pocket here. And you can see we're 15 1/4. I go to this side here, and we are 15 1/4. Same thing on the other side here. Go here, we're at 17 5/8. Go to here, and we are 17 5/8. So everything is lining up, and obviously this has been leveled. We got 3 3/4 here at that little high ridge. 3 3/4 here at that high ridge. So everything is really good. The brace too was there to kind of keep that, you know, from not moving as I was messing with this side. I think we're in great shape. So it goes to the next bit of business, which is this side pinch weld. And you can see it's, yeah, if you live in Chicago, it looks like Ogden Avenue. But yeah, it's pretty nasty. So we're going to get in there with some hammers, knock that out, and then we're going to start addressing these. And I kind of have an idea what I want to do with these, but they're going to be rough. All right, pinch weld repair requires your favorite hammers, your favorite Barbie, your second favorite YouTuber, and your multi-wrench. And usually like to start with the multi-wrench. Just start to kind of reshape it without swinging the hammer. Get close. On this side, if you have one of these cars, got a nut, another nut cert basically. This one's got a screw still in it. Nice. Every now and again you get to hear some nice cars that drive by, or bikes. This one's got a major fold over. So we're going to get in here with a screwdriver and I've been going through and cleaning everything up here, getting rid of all of this gooey, whatever the hell it is, underlayment. I'm assuming it's all from factory, and they sprayed it everywhere. And this car was undercoated with a Z-Bart. I can't imagine that was the Z-Bart stuff, but I don't know. But what it does is it exposes a lot of this way better, and you can kind of see how mangled this guy is. So we are going to pull it because I bought one of these, which is something I probably should have bought a long time ago. So we're going to get some pinches under here, and then I've got that D-ring in the floor, and we're going to yank on it. Okay, and back to here. You can see it worked. I did pull it down quite a bit. It's way better than where it was. Obviously, I still got that little high spot there, and there's not much to grab really now anymore. But I'm going to still try and get another bite there. The other thing too is you can kind of see that this is bulging, so I'm going to have to smack that in once I'm pulling it. That should help. Some of this I should be able to straighten out from the inside. So eventually, none of the welding is going to get done, obviously, on the front or in the interior cabin until I get the rest of this stuff underneath done. Why are you making noise there? Oh, because the car is resting on a piece of 1/4-inch plywood. Well, there's 2x12s. It's fine. But yeah, we're going to take another pick at this and let's see if we can get it to work even more. I'm very happy how it's working so far. So this is a score. Alright, so now I'm going to go for this guy. I can access that from inside. So I'm going to take this little dolly and do that. And you can watch the other side. Tell me when to stop. Alright, so I'm good with that side. But I want to get underneath. But unfortunately, for me to get underneath and start creating sparks and grinding and stuff, I got to get to the other side of this and kind of work this fuel line away from the area. Because eventually, too, I'm going to be welding, and there's a lot of brake lines, too, so I need to start getting that out of there. And by that stuff, I mean this stuff. I'm going to probably just move it out of the way for now, though. Just have it even lay if I have to. I am shooting air into one side of this hose and then using the other side to fill the gas can for the lawnmower to try and get rid of the tank. At some point the tank's gonna have to get dropped, so I don't know why I'm waiting. Oh, I'm just milking the Z. Each one is 2.5 gallons. I already filled up 7.5 gallons. And then this another one that's another gallon. It's 8.5 gallons, and there's still more to spare. So I have been cleaning up parts here. Unfortunately, this thing doesn't work very good. Not as good as I'd like it to, but it's sort of working. You can see what it did to this piece on the other side. And why I'm on this side is because I'm going to recreate, or at least put this thing back together, using this as a mirror image so I can get the shape right. So you can see what I do. And yes, it'll be sped up. Okay, I think I got it way better, and we'll still adjust it once we weld it back to the car. It's obviously not ready for welding, but you can see I was able to kind of recreate that divot. It's not perfect, doesn't need to be, it's going to be covered, but it'd be nice to get it as straight as possible. Let's see how it fits. Oh yeah, that worked pretty good. There's the original weld, and you can kind of see it lining up there, or at least where I drilled. So that ain't too bad. I do got to straighten out this piece now, but that can be done at any time. All right, this is as bad as it looks. This area was already separated, so I separated it more. Obviously, this comes together here, and I was able to get this opening, obviously, and I'm able to get, you know, bars and all kinds of stuff in there to try to push all this stuff out. And for the most part, it's kind of working. But you can see it is nasty. There's even a spot way down there. I don't know if you can see that. So yeah, it's a little challenging. Fortunately, there's a hole here, so I might be able to get something else in there. There's like a little drain slit. There's that nut there I can maybe start trying to pull, even though that section's already down decent. Just a lot of little finagling. And then I cleaned it all up, obviously. So now you can kind of see, or at least I can see, what I'm going against. Okay, after quite a bit of banging and beating, I have gotten this thing a little bit better. It's not perfect. It still is going to need quite a bit of work. And sorry for some of these shadows. Obviously, this whole section right here, I'm going to eventually cut out and replace. And as far as the scraping of all the undercoating and everything that's been here and underneath, I'm not going to show you that, but I am going to go through and spend a lot of time. I'm going to get it down to this level throughout the entire car. That'll mean in the transmission tunnel, both frame rails, both sides, front and rear. You can look at that frame rail, and that thing isn't nearly as bad as the passenger side here, but it does need a little bit of tweaking, and I'm going to eventually get to that as well. So let's see what else. I still need to remove all of the extra seam sealer around everything. So the thing needs to be cleaned up. Again, like I said, I'm not going to get in and show you guys videos, but Next time you see this, it'll all be cleaned up. Maybe even some parts down to some bare metal. And basically, I will be ready for rust repair. So bring out the welder, bring out the grinders, start going after a lot of this, and start making the repairs that are necessary. So I want to thank everybody for watching. And as always, like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one. I'm not exactly sure when that will be, but it will be happening. I'm going to say there's at least 300 to 400 pounds of this stuff. That's a good estimate, no?